Have you ever woken up in the quiet of the early morning, feeling that subtle blend of peace and uncertainty at the same time? First, imagine that there's a particular moment, somewhere around the age of 60 or beyond, where you begin to sense that life is shifting in ways you never quite expected. Your children might be grown, bustling around with their own families. Your career might be winding down, or maybe you're fully retired. Longtime friends might have moved away or grown distant. And even if you have a wonderful family, you can't help but realize that leaning entirely on your relatives isn't always enough to sustain every aspect of your well-being. That realization can feel both freeing and jarring. You think to yourself, who's truly in my corner for the long run? Now, let's dive into a perspective that might surprise you. There are 6 critical pillars of support after 60 that can prove more crucial than familial bonds. It's not that family doesn't matter, of course it does. But to live fully, to embrace independence and well-being, you need a broader foundation. In this scenario, we'll explore these 6 pillars in depth. By the time we're done, you may find yourself feeling less dependent on the hope that children or grandchildren can fill every gap in your life, and more empowered to build a future that is stable, fulfilling, and distinctly yours. Imagine sitting in your living room on a sunny afternoon. You're sipping tea, gazing out the window, and reflecting on how life used to be. Memories drift by, raising kids, managing a busy schedule, forging a strong career, or dedicating years to a craft. Now the house is a little quieter. You can hear the hum of the fridge, the distant roar of traffic outside, and you find yourself asking, who do I rely on now, day to day? Am I prepared if something happens physically, emotionally, or financially? Moving on, this scenario plays out in countless homes across America. Many older adults assume their kids or nieces and nephews will step in when things get tough. But as much as they might care, those relatives usually have their own overwhelming responsibilities. So how do you ensure you're not left waiting for phone calls that may never come, or living a life overshadowed by worry that you might someday become a burden? Let's unveil these 6 pillars, each one a game changer in its own right. We'll look at how each pillar builds on the others, forming a cohesive safety net that can buoy you through whatever the next decade or 3 might bring. So, settle into your chair, keep an open mind, and let's begin. First, think about financial readiness. You've likely heard it said 1,000 times, money can't buy happiness. True enough, but after 60, there's an underlying reality. Money can buy choices. And choices lead to a sense of control, which fosters dignity and peace of mind. If you're financially secure, you get to decide where you live, maybe in a smaller condo, or in the home you've known for years, how you spend your leisure time, and what kind of care you receive if health issues crop up. Family members, however loving, can't always bridge the gap if you're facing financial shortfalls. Even if they want to help, they might have mortgages, children's college funds, or their own retirement to consider. Financial readiness stands as a protective wall between you and a life of unwanted compromises. Next, ensuring you're financially ready might start with a brutally honest assessment of your assets, liabilities, and monthly expenses. Do you have a reliable source of income, like a pension, Social Security, or part-time consulting? Do you have a nest egg that can be tapped for emergencies? One overlooked option is downsizing your living space. A big house that once housed a family of 5 might be expensive to maintain. By downsizing, you could free up equity, reduce property taxes, and slash utility bills. Another angle is to examine your expenses. Are you paying for subscriptions you barely use? Could you refinance a lingering mortgage at better rates? Then, when you have your finances under control, you sleep better. You don't second-guess small purchases. You don't panic when a car needs repairs. More importantly, you won't need to rely heavily on your children's resources. You maintain your autonomy. For many older adults, autonomy is the key to a fulfilling, confident life. Consider Jim, who's 67. After a lifetime of labor-intensive work, he's saved modestly. He initially planned on leaning on his kids for extra support. Then he had a wake-up call. One of his kids was going through a job loss. Another was swamped with medical bills. Suddenly, Jim realized he needed a plan B that didn't revolve around them. He began consulting part-time in his old field, working from home a few hours a day, and used that extra income to bolster his emergency fund. Now, he's no longer worried if the water heater breaks. He can handle it. Financial readiness can't solve every problem, but it smooths out the path. It's the first powerful pillar that, ironically, might bring you closer to your family because you're not relying on them for financial bailouts. Now, consider health and well-being. You might have terrific genes that kept you spry up to now, or maybe you've struggled with health issues for decades. Either way, your everyday choices, diet, exercise, preventive checkups, matter immensely. After 60, even small changes in your lifestyle can yield significant benefits. A short daily walk, a shift toward less processed food, a commitment to regular screenings. These efforts pay off more than you might think. Then, a frequent misconception is, I'm older, so it's normal to feel unwell. Yes, bodies change with age, but that doesn't mean you can't be active and relatively comfortable. Checking in with a doctor for routine screenings can detect issues before they escalate. Blood pressure management, cholesterol checks, or bone density tests can highlight early problems. Catching them sooner can spare you from bigger health complications that might otherwise push you into depending on family for day-to-day tasks. Furthermore, physical health is only one part of the equation. Mental well-being is just as crucial. Retirement can sometimes cause a sense of loss of identity, social connections, or day-to-day structure. This can lead to depression or anxiety. And while family can provide emotional support, they can't always fill the void if you're lonely or unfulfilled. Extending the focus on health to your mind, engaging in activities like meditation, puzzles, journaling, or even volunteering can sharpen mental faculties and provide a sense of direction. For instance, consider Martha, 70, who used to assume aches and pains were just part of the deal. Then she discovered gentle yoga. Within a few weeks, her flexibility improved, and so did her mood. Realizing she could still shape her physical destiny gave her a renewed sense of empowerment. Now she's the one encouraging her adult daughter to join her yoga classes. By committing to health and well-being, you're far less likely to become dependent on a daughter or son for rides to the doctor or help with housekeeping. Your body remains agile, your spirits high, and your sense of independence strong. Next, let's talk about the importance of a widening social network. It's easy to assume that, after 60, your social circle just shrinks. Some friends move away, others pass on, and you might not have colleagues around after retiring. But if you let your social world close in, you risk isolation, a hidden epidemic among seniors. A robust social network can do wonders for your mental and emotional health, often more effectively than any single family member can manage. For some, it's a local walking group that meets on weekday mornings. For others, it might be a quilting club, a reading circle, or even an online discussion forum about genealogy or classic cars. The key is consistent, meaningful contact with people who share some of your interests, challenges, or humor. It's these interactions that keep your mind engaged, your spirits lifted. Then, consider that family might feel obligated to check in, and you love them for it. But friends choose to spend time with you, and you with them. That reciprocity can be refreshing. You're not defined by familial roles in these social settings. You're simply yourself, sharing stories, planning outings, and savoring the sense of belonging. Look at Sam, 72, who joined a local photography club. Initially, he was just looking for a hobby, but he ended up meeting a diverse group of men and women who not only shared camera tips, but also became a support system. When Sam had a minor surgery, members of his club brought him meals and visited him, offering conversation and laughter. He didn't need to rely solely on his busy daughter, who lived 200 miles away. Moreover, expanding your circle can be as simple as attending local classes, volunteering at a community center or local library, joining online platforms for seniors, or participating in cultural or faith-based gatherings. When your social network widens, you realize you're not navigating life alone. Instead of leaning on your children to organize weekend get-togethers, you have your own circle of people who genuinely want to see you. and that's a powerful feeling. Now, let's explore another essential element: finding personal purpose and fostering growth. How do you define yourself now that the hustle and bustle days are behind you? Retirement can sometimes leave a vacuum, especially if your identity was tied to a career or raising a family. Having a sense of purpose, something that gets you excited to wake up, becomes essential. Without it, it's easy to drift or rely on family to fill your time. Purpose doesn't have to be grand. It could be tending a community garden, mentoring younger people in your profession, or writing a blog about your travels. It's about staying engaged with life's possibilities. Studies link a strong sense of purpose to lower rates of chronic illness and depression among older adults. And it also helps keep cognitive function sharper. Purpose propels you to keep learning, exploring, and questioning, making every day feel worthwhile. For example, if you've dabbled in painting, why not sharpen your skills, attend a few workshops, and maybe even sell or gift your artwork? Or perhaps, if you have decades of expertise in a field such as accounting, teaching, or retail, you might offer part-time consulting or free workshops, sharing your wisdom and staying mentally active. Meaningful volunteer work, whether reading to children at a local library or helping with wildlife conservation, can reconnect you with your community. Spiritual or mindful pursuits, like joining a faith-based community or practicing daily mindfulness, can deepen your sense of presence. Then, when you're excited about your own projects or commitments, you're not just waiting for your grandson's phone call or your daughter's weekend visit. Your daily life is self-driven, reducing any emotional weight on your family as they see you thriving on your own terms. Consider Gloria, who retired at 65. Feeling aimless at first, she discovered a local historical society and began researching local landmarks, giving tours, and writing a short history guide for tourists. This project ignited a new sense of identity. She's no longer just grandma, but a recognized local historian, earning the respect of her children and community. Moving on, emotional resilience is yet another pillar. It is the ability to bounce back from setbacks, manage stress, and adapt to change, a subtle strength that often goes unnoticed until it's needed most. After 60, life transitions might include the passing of friends or siblings, dealing with health scares, or simply adjusting to new limitations. Without resilience, these hurdles can feel crushing. With it, you can adjust and find new ways to thrive. Families can offer empathy, but they can't always be your sole emotional crutch when facing disappointment. Emotional resilience means learning to process grief, regret, or fear. It might involve cultivating a reflective practice, such as journaling or quiet meditation, so that when problems arise, you can process your feelings without panicking. Then, building emotional resilience may involve seeking therapeutic outlets like traditional therapy, support groups, or regular check-ins with a spiritual counselor. Techniques such as deep breathing, mindfulness apps, or guided imagery can reduce anxiety. Practicing healthy self-talk, replacing defeatist thoughts with affirmations, and gradually overcoming small challenges can build the confidence needed for bigger obstacles. Consider Arnold, 69, who found himself widowed after a sudden illness took his wife. Though he grieved deeply, he refused to let despair consume him. Through joining a bereavement group and taking daily walks in the park, he rediscovered small joys that reminded him of life's beauty. Even though his children offered help, Arnold realized he had his own reservoir of strength. Today, he is the calm presence within his extended family, always ready to offer a listening ear, demonstrating that resilience often turns you into a pillar for others. Finally, the last pillar is adaptability and a willingness to evolve. By the time you reach 60, you have a lifetime of experiences, habits, and preferences, and it can be tempting to believe you've got it all figured out. However, the world doesn't stand still simply because you've reached a certain age. Technology evolves, social norms shift, and your own body changes. Being unwilling to adapt risks feelings of irrelevance, being sidelined, or helplessness. Adaptability may involve small adjustments, like learning how to use Zoom, to connect with distant friends, or shifting to a healthier diet if your doctor advises it. Or it might mean significant changes, such as moving to a different city to be closer to better medical facilities or cultural venues. The key is to remain open to rethinking your routines, your environment, and even your perspectives on life. Continuous learning is one way to foster adaptability, whether that's mastering a new language, picking up a new craft, or taking online classes for personal enrichment. This learning not only prepares you for unexpected challenges, but also keeps you engaged with the world. Consider Margaret, 73, who had never touched a smartphone until her local community center offered a beginner's tech class. Initially overwhelmed, she soon learned how to message her grandchildren, order groceries online, and stream exercise videos from home. Her willingness to evolve not only provided practical benefits, but also renewed her sense of belonging in a rapidly changing society. So much so that her adult children now joke that she's more tech-savvy than they are. When you weave these pillars together, financial readiness, health and well-being, a widening social network, personal purpose, emotional resilience, and adaptability, you create a sturdy framework that supports every aspect of your life. Each pillar interacts with the others. Stable finances might enable you to afford gym memberships or healthy foods, which in turn bolster your health, while a strong social network can lead to new hobbies that enhance both emotional resilience and a sense of purpose. Even if one pillar weakens temporarily, the others provide support and balance, ensuring that you are not solely dependent on family. This approach not only safeguards your own well-being, but also eases the strain on family relationships, as interactions become a choice rather than a desperate need. Imagine now waking up in the morning knowing that you're not waiting on a phone call or a financial bailout. Your day might include meeting a friend for coffee, attending a gentle yoga class, or volunteering at a local nonprofit. If a challenge arises, a sudden expense, or a minor health hiccup, you have systems in place, whether that's a small emergency fund, a trusted doctor, or mindfulness exercises to steady your anxiety. That sense of calm, capability, and dignity is priceless. Family remains a cherished part of your life, but they're no longer the sole source of your well-being. Whether they live far away or are caught up in their own busy lives, you have cultivated your own community. This balanced independence often enriches your bond with them because when you do spend time together, it's out of mutual desire, not crisis. To put these ideas into daily practice, start small. Identify one pillar that resonates most with you right now, perhaps exploring a new social club, reworking your budget, or beginning a morning stretch routine, and build on it consistently. Over time, integrate the other pillars gradually. There is no need for a radical overhaul overnight. As you notice each change influencing your mindset and daily comfort, you might find yourself standing a little taller, feeling a bit lighter, and worrying less. It is a process and a profound shift in how you perceive life after 60. There will be hurdles and moments of self-doubt. Some days your knees may ache more than usual, or a financial scare might temporarily shake your confidence. Perhaps a close friend moves away, leaving you feeling lonely. These setbacks are normal. With all 6 pillars in place, you have a multi-layered support system. If loneliness creeps in because a friend has relocated, you can lean on your sense of purpose or emotional resilience. If finances are shaky, your social network or adaptability can help you pivot until you regain your footing. Ultimately, when you recognize that family is just one part of your broader tapestry, a tremendous sense of freedom emerges. You can love your family, enjoy their company, and share memories without the anxiety that you might fall apart if they're not always around. Instead, you see yourself as an individual with unique strengths, a chosen circle of friends, and daily joys that define your life. Over time, your journey may even inspire others, friends or family, who notice your centered and grounded approach. They may seek your advice, admiring the independence and balance you've achieved. Strive for balance, knowing that no single pillar exists in isolation. If you're deeply engaged in personal projects, remember to nurture your health and social connections so you don't isolate yourself. If you invest heavily in social clubs, remain mindful of your finances. The goal is to maintain a well-tended balance in every area of your life. There is a unique tranquility in appreciating the small pleasures, a well-organized bookshelf, a sunlit window, without being overwhelmed by anxious thoughts about tomorrow. That centered feeling, confidence in your own capacity, is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. Finally, reflect on which pillar might need attention first. Perhaps you feel secure financially, but crave a stronger social circle, or maybe you're physically active, yet lack a clear sense of purpose. Identifying that starting point is the first step toward a richer, fuller life beyond 60. Consider taking immediate action. Join a community class, schedule a financial planning appointment, or start a new hobby. You are the architect of your life's next chapter. Before you go, take a moment to consider your next steps. Which pillar will you work on first? The journey ahead is one of building financial readiness, nurturing your health, expanding your social connections, cultivating personal purpose, strengthening emotional resilience, and embracing adaptability. By building these supports, you can live the coming decades on your own terms, with a life as vibrant and fulfilling as you deserve.